Today's presentation is about woody breast, which is basically a muscle myopathy that is believed to be caused by local hypoxia in the tissue, which creates a state of oxidative stress. And oxidative stress in itself is a problem because it creates a multitude of factors within the tissue. So today's presentation is really talking about many components we can use to help enhance the diet of the bird through nutrition, specifically talking about zinc, manganese, and copper, because those are key minerals that support the oxidative status of the animal, but also superdosing with phytase, because superdosing is a novel approach to this where we're looking at the fact that it enhances mineral bioavailability, breaks down phytate, produces pure inositol, and inositol is thought to be an antioxidant component. So all of those things are working together to really hopefully reduce the incidence and severity of woody breast within the tissue, and that's really what the presentation is about. Today's broiler has really been selected genetically for fast growth rate. And if you look at the U.S. broiler industry from 1992 to about 2012, we've really made some great strides in terms of feed conversion and body weight gain. When we make these strides in genetic selection, sometimes we have unwelcome consequences because of that. The one area that we're really struggling with today is a new phenomenon called woody breast. So what is woody breast? Basically, the literature is describing it as a muscle myopathy, and if you look at the breast meats, it's visually characterized by this hard or bulging area and the caudal parts, and it has a pale color to it. There really are varying degrees of severity of woody breast out there. This is a scoring system that was developed by the University of Arkansas. They range it from a 0 up to a 3. So a 0 is your nice, flexible, typical breast meat. Then you go up to a 1, 2, a 3. A 3 is essentially like a board, and that's where the word woodiness comes from. So if you rest that breast meat up against this metal railing, it stands up on its own. The industry is all about average daily gain. That's what this genetic selection is about. We want to have a very fast-growing bird, a heavy bird, and in the U.S., we're particularly interested in this breast meat yield. What we're finding is that as the average daily gains tend to increase, we see a higher incidence of the severity. And as the incidence of average daily gain is lower, we're seeing less severity of this woody breast. And there's a lot of research going on looking at trying to slow the bird down in terms of average daily gain to reduce the severity. One of the reasons this is becoming so much of a problem for the industry, other than the fact they're losing a ton of money, is that the consumer complaints are on the rise. We do eat a lot of breast meat in the U.S. We're 91 pounds per capita consumption of total chicken meat in the U.S., and the bulk of that is from boneless breast meat. So it has made the news recently. You'll see some articles in the Wall Street Journal and Bloomberg talking about, the chicken industry is facing this problem. So what's causing it? I think that's where the unknowns really are surfacing. If you read the literature, they're all pointing towards genetic selection for this faster growing bird and heavier breast muscle. And when we started reading some of the literature that's out there, the first thing that popped out to us was, this is oxidative stress. Basically, you're saying that the muscle isn't able to keep up. So essentially, there's a reduced capillary blood supply, which is leading to this necrosis in the tissue, the infiltration of the macrophages, and essentially the replacement of those muscles with this collagen-rich cross-link that's given it that woody appearance. So if you look at the fact that we're definitely growing a much bigger bird than we were 2 years ago, researchers are saying that this is an oxidative stress that's occurring because of this increased demand for breast muscle. In addition to all the other stressors that are out there, it's not surprising that we may be limiting on some of these key nutrients that we need to help the bird combat with this oxidative stress that's going on. So in terms of what nutrients we're specifically thinking about when it comes to dealing with oxidative stress, there's a clear number that play into this field. Obviously, vitamin E is a really big component because it's a chain-breaking antioxidant. But zinc, manganese, and copper are also some interesting minerals because they are antioxidant-type minerals in terms of helping with superoxide dismutase or breaking down free radicals so that they're less toxic at the cell level. In the U.S., what we tend to do is decrease the minerals as the bird gets older. As the bird gets older, we're actually dropping down the levels of zinc, manganese, copper, and even vitamin E at the time that the bird's growing at one of the fastest rates and putting on the breast muscle. So is there something that we could be doing maybe to support that at the end? So I do think it's kind of a culmination of factors that we're looking at. Woody breast is not going to be a simple fix for the industry. There's a lot of people working on it. But if we are seeing this temporary lack of blood flow to the tissue. It's leading to this necrosis in certain areas of the muscle, as well as infiltration of macrophages. And when they set in, they're also introducing their own free radicals to kind of kill and combat some of the bacterial or challenges that they're facing. Is it possible that if we don't have the amount of antioxidants there to support that muscle, we are getting this oxidative stress, which everyone is suggesting, that leading to increased woody breast? So that's where this whole concept of superdosing and phytase came about, essentially, is we believed that when we superdose, we're releasing more minerals, and in particular, we were looking at zinc and copper, but iron was one that we were very interested in. And then also, one of the theories that we had was that inositol, if we could break down phytate or IP6 to pure inositol is reported to have some antioxidant capacity within the cells. We went out and we did look at superdosing from this theory. Basically, we're going to enhance mineral bioavailability. We're going to hopefully have an antioxidant capacity that supports some of this degradation that's going on in the tissues, help reduce some of the oxidative stress possibly that's going on in this breast muscle, and reduce the incidence of the most severe form of woody breast. We thought, okay, well, this is not a simple fix, and superdosing on its own looks like it's having some benefits, but what if we add other things that support the antioxidant capacity of the animals? So one of the things we did next is Carrie designed a trial where we fed a commercial level of phytase, 500 units, and then we fed a superdosing level, 1,500 units of quantum blue, where we only formulated in the first 500 units and add 1,000 on top. And then we started building from there. So the next treatment was adding things that we were calling antioxidants. So we added additional zinc, we added ethoxyquin, and we added organic selenium. If you look at the superdosing plus all treatment, again, we had the highest average daily gain, we had the best feed conversion, one of the highest breast meat yields, but one of the lowest incidences of severity in these birds. So again, we were not impairing the growth rate of these birds, but we were seeing a little bit lower woody breasts compared to the other treatments. And as we've seen from the field data, if you slow the bird down, we do know we'll get lower incidences of woody breast, and that's what this data is saying. When we superdose, we're not slowing the birds down, but we are seeing a lower severity. And in reality, if you look at just the threes alone, we actually reduced that by about 50%. I think the one thing that is interesting is that we're now definitely confirming that it is an oxidative stress issue within the tissue. When we see data like this that's supporting the fact that if you do provide the bird with the capacity that it needs to combat some of this oxidative stress at the tissue level, we are reducing the severity. Now, it is promising that we can continue to get the gains in the birds that the industry wants, but we're potentially lowering the severity. I think it kind of caught everybody off guard. They're not sure what's causing it. So there's a host of universities around the world that are specifically looking at what is causing woody breast and how can they help reduce the incidence of woody breast so there's less financial loss.